Good afternoon, everybody. This is the 1UP Nitro National Series, and we are back for race 11 of this 2022 season, and we are back where it all started for these drivers. All the way back in March at the Pensacola Superspeedway. We're back there once again for the AdventHealth 250 around this 3-mile oval, where the big one lurks around every corner, and it's not a matter of if it'll come, it's a matter of when and how soon. I'm joined in the booth in this race by Duke Ansack as usual, and that's the big question. When is the big one coming? Because it could come at lap 2, it could come at lap 38, it could come at any time in between. What can we expect from this one?
Well, I think that the only thing we can expect from this race is the unexpected, as cliche as it may sound. There's not a lot of predicting you could do going into this race. I mean, we can look at past races. We can look at winners and people who've run up front and analytics and all this stuff, but it's not. I mean, when we drop that green flag today, all is going to just go wild. I mean, analytics out the window, predictions out the window. Everything is going to be crazy. And it's just, I mean, we're racing at a massive facility here, and the high banks and full speed all the way around, and it's it is going to be nothing short of entertaining, and I cannot wait to see how these drivers manage throughout today's race.
With speeds hovering around the 220 mile per hour range, expect no leniency from anybody in this race, as we can now look at the full starting lineup for today's 40-lap race. Dylan Young on pole position, not too much of a surprise there. This is the Nitro National Series and all. But behind him is a very mixed bag of challengers. You got Todd Hemler with his career best start, as is Ryan Arnold behind him in third. Ryan Caggiano finished in the top 10 in all but one race this season. Can never count him out. And then you got Terzic in his 57 car, who finished in the top 5 in this race in the spring. He's always got to be a threat, and you got some surprises for a little further back as well. And then on the flip side, you got some big names starting at the tail end of the field. You got Chris Lattimore back there, AJ Jones, Aaron Hall, Zach Rogers, Sam Donato, Alexa Lucian, Kyle Corbett, Cody Goforth. The list goes on and on. You can make your way from the back to the front here very quickly, but if you're starting at the back, you got to worry about the risk of an early big one ruining your day before it even gets started.
Yeah, that's one of the things that goes into a strategy decision when you're talking on Thursday and Friday and during the week leading up to a race here at Pensacola. You're talking about where you start in the race and how to navigate that situation. You want to get to the bottom as soon as you can, and you want to be able to drive up through the field and give yourself enough room to be able to avoid an accident if it were to happen, because nobody knows when these accidents are going to happen, and I promise you there will be some crashing today. So it's going to be a good one.
So with that being said, we have 42 cars lined up on the grid, ready to take on 40 laps, 120 miles here at the Pensacola Superspeedway. We're ready to bring you all the action we've mentioned and then some. This is the 1UP Nitro National Series from the Pensacola Superspeedway, and the green flag is mere moments away. With the pace car already on pit road and the field already in the restart zone, the green flag is out, and we're underway for the AdventHealth 250 at Pensacola. And before we've even hit the first corner, they're already 4 wide, if that's any indication of how the rest of this race is going to go. Dylan Young barrels it off into turn 1 with the lead, and it's 3 wide, 3 rows deep behind as they jostle for position in the early stages of the first lap.
They've got plenty of room to go 3 wide here. I mean, you could probably go 5 wide comfortably at this place. And look, we've got a 2-car breakaway a little bit for the lead. There's single file. It's Young and Arnold first and second right now. Behind them, though, it is a snarling pack of race cars. Look at that image coming down the back straightaway, going into turn 3.
I wouldn't say comfortably go 5 wide here, but I'm sure you could do it if you squeezed in a little bit. But I doubt anybody would want to do that this early. As I say that, I see 4 wide in the pack already. But as they come off turn 4, Dylan Young will lead lap 1 from pole. And man, look at this pack of cars. Only at Pensacola do you see it quite like this. And you can see 4 wide deep in the field as everybody's trying to get to the bottom. Like you said, It's the main opportunity lane, as it were, in this racetrack to pass around here. So everybody looking for some opportunities to make moves. It looks like Todd Hemler is going to try and make a move with himself from Terzic, and we've got trouble already. It's happened immediately in the turn 3. Looks like, Patrick Smith's involved in this one. AF Walsh, Zach Rogers, Logan Williams in this wreck. John McFadden, Nathan Meyer. It's happened immediately. We feared this might happen as Kean Rivers, his race is done on only the second lap, but we said this might happen, and it certainly has. Oh, and we've got another one slowing for the yellow flag. Justin Hutchinson's in this one. Zachary DeLello, Cody Goforth, a lot of both the Team Dayspring cars. We were talking about them so well in the last few weeks. They're both involved in this one. Joshua Michaels, Miles Mashburn, Zane Grayson, Patrick Smith with more damage. What in the world's going on here? This is a very chaotic opening few laps.
Yeah, that was absolutely wild. Now, remember, they will race back to the line, right? And then, so that could have been what caused it. It was just past the start-finish line that the second accident happened during this yellow. So they were maybe racing back to the line trying to sort out the positions here and just got tangled up. We'll have to watch quite a few replays for this to sort all this out, but there are a lot of vehicles damaged in the beginning of this race. That changes the dynamic significantly for the rest of the race, and all these cars that are undamaged after this, we'll have to see how it goes for them. Look at all these cars heading into the pit lane right here.
A lot of cars with a lot of damage. Oh, you see Christian Russell with damage. He started 7th in this race. This is not going to be a good rest of the day for Christian Russell if he manages to continue in that car. But as you can see, we have a lot of cars peeling off for pit road to assess damage repair. We're only on lap 3. So this is where it started, in the pack, and it's exactly like every wreck we see at Pensacola. 3 cars get pinched together. It's just a chain reaction from there. Santiago Alvarez gets a piece of this. AF Walsh, in just his 3rd career start, gets spun around. Oh, gosh. Zach Rogers with a lot of damage. Kean Rivers, obviously, his day's done. Now, we can take a look what happened here. I think it's the exact same story. Zachary DeLello gets up into Justin Hutchinson, and a chain reaction from there. You'd think these guys would slow down a little more once they see the caution out, but man, I'm not so sure what to make of that. I've never seen that happen before, even at Pensacola.
Yeah, it's just an ever-going battle about getting position anywhere you can, and coming to the checkered flag or coming to the yellow flag like that is a great opportunity. These guys took it a little bit too far, it seems, on this one.
So with that, Miles Mashburn's day is done already. We're not even a 10th of the way through this race. Kyle Corbett set the fastest lap in the meantime. We'll see if that holds up for the rest of the race. Patrick Smith out of the race. Zach Rogers out of the race. Santiago Alvarez, Nathan Meyer, Kean Rivers, all out of the race. So we have 36 remaining in the AdventHealth 250, and they're all on the lead lap at the moment. We'll take you to the restart, of course, as soon as it's ready to be presented to us. This is the 1UP Nitro National Series from Pensacola. Restart coming up soon. We got so many stories, it's impossible to keep an eye on all of them at once, but we're going to do our best to. The field rolls through 3 and 4. We're about to take a restart here.
It's a little bit easier to keep your eye on all the drivers at a track like this where they're all going to be 2 and 3 wide all the way back, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting. There's so many stories to unravel, and I'm sure that everybody's gonna get their opportunity up front. We're coming to the green flag right now.
Green flag back in the air. We're underway at Pensacola on lap number 7, and the field stays pretty single file for now. I fully expect that to change within the next lap or two as they barrel off into turn 1. There you see it already. Dylan Young gets underneath Terzic in the 57, trying to get around him, and he will succeed with help from Tyler Ferris, but it is still Todd Hemler who leads the way for the moment for Jeff Bolton Racing, looking for their first win as an organization in any series, honestly. Still, especially by Todd Hemler, that would be a great story. As you can see, with the damaged cars already starting to filter their way to the back, this field getting strung out very quickly.
Yeah, wow, what a save!
If that's not save of the year, I don't know what is, because that was at 215 miles per hour between Austin Holloman and Nicky Martinez. And if that isn't any indication of how great that save was, they're still running competitive speeds with the rest of the pack. That is amazing. and almost overshadowing the move for the lead we've got right here. Dylan Young goes back to the top.
Man, I mean, I cannot state enough how incredible that was for those two cars to be now making a move to the bottom lane to try to get up to the front of this pack after being I mean, that's a wreck right there. They just avoided being completely taken out in this race. Man, oh man, what a save it was. We'll be watching replays of that for months, if not years, every time we come here. What, my oh my. But now we've got the 92 up front, Dylan Young, and he's doing a good job right now ahead of the 55. Of course, they've gone single file here, and they're running that middle lane, so we'll see what they choose to do going into turn one. Going straight to the bottom. Oh, not enough to the bottom for the 92. Here comes 55 trying to take the lead.
And of course, it was this 55 car that won the first ever Nitro National Series race run at Pensacola. And that was won by Kenneth Grant, who's in the 53 up in the high groove right now. But here comes Ferris with a run. Now Ricky Freeman Jr., now Keon Daly making it 4 wide for second behind Tyler Ferris, barreling it off in the turn 3.
Wow, that is just, that is incredible. Dylan Young has gone from leading this race to now probably looking at being outside of the top 10. And look at this. So we've got Keon Daly taking the lead, and look right behind. There's that 6 car coming on the bottom lane. Oh, they're going 3 wide with the 00. And the 00 started in 33rd in this race. Sam Denoto all the way in the back. So that just shows we're on lap 10 already. Sam Denoto taking the move for the lead here. Started 33rd. What an incredible race it's been so far.
Yeah, and you think that's impressive. David Wells right behind him. He started 40th in this race. He's up into the 2nd spot now. So an incredible series of runs as they're about to come up on Kasim Adnan to put him a lap down, unfortunately, for the one group. But that's what happens when you have a huge pack barreling around 220 and a car by itself going around about 180. So they're going to catch him pretty quickly as Sam Denoto, after his harrowing crash in the Pensacola 500 a few months ago, now he leads at the very same track, but Eric Monaco is going to try and forward his lead for the time being.
Oh, there's a little bit of contact in the 3rd row right there between the 34 and the 91. Those two middle lines are so close to each other right now, and look at this. We are 4 wide all the way around this track right now. 4 distinct lanes. Of course, the top lane, the very top lane that is, has only 3 or 4 cars in it. And here comes the 57 back. I thought he was maybe going to drop farther back in this pack after losing the lead and being stuck on the outside. Definitely during that restart, he got stuck on the outside. But now, here he is with a push from the 42, going for the lead on the bottom lane.
And unless I'm mistaken, that 42 was in our first caution of the race. So very good job to get that 42 patched up and back out there, as with the 03 of Zachary DeLello. That's an excellent job by them to get that done, as it looks like we got one stuck on the flat of the racetrack. That's Joshua Michaels in the 18. Looks like he's going to be slowing up the inside line just a little bit, as it looks like he's gotten stuck down there, but don't think there's anything wrong with the 18, just wrong place, wrong time. He'll get back up to speed pretty quickly, but that's going to thin out the pack a little bit, at least for the time being, as now we've only got like maybe 3 lanes to work with instead of the 4 we saw earlier. Never mind, they're back to 4.
Yeah, well, what that did is it caused a lot of shuffling back in the pack. I mean, it opened up that bottom lane, and everybody kind of jumped down there to see what they could do. And it caused a lot of movement side to side down the back straightaway. So we've got a lot of different characters, different players in either lane right now. However, they have gone back to 3 lanes distinctively. Of course, that bottom lane is always going to be a little bit more dominant here. It's just the shortest way around the track. So you've got the bottom lane is really good around here. Then you got the middle lane that's a little bit worse, and then the outside lane is tough because you're taking such a long route around this 3-mile track. So it's going to be interesting to see where the winner comes from. You know, as we're closing in on the final laps of this race, what lane do you want to be in? Where do you want to be in that lane? First, second, third coming up, and here we got the lap car situation. He's gonna go to the top, and
his teammates jumping up there as well to give him a helping hand. But I don't see how that's going to work out for either one of the Full Frontal Motorsports guys, as Eric Monaco continues to lead this race, and he's doing a very good job of holding off everybody behind him. And now we've got a few more characters coming into play. Kyle Corbett in the 66. We mentioned he has the fastest lap so far. Chris Lattimore, as we mentioned, looking for Moto Dash Racing's first win as they're going multiple lanes deep for the lead here. Now, it's going to be Tyler Ferris making a move to the inside of Eric Monaco, trying to take the lead away, and he'll do so with help from Arnold and Lattimore and Justin Hutchinson in that 11 car this week. Coming through turns 4 once again, and Tyler Ferris reassumes the lead.
Yeah, so this is at the point in the race where we've seen a lot of green flag racing at this point. So we're able to kind of determine which cars are maybe going to be characters to try to win this race. And Tyler Ferris is definitely one of them. And we've got, oh wow. There must have been some incident because that was Sam Denotto I saw with smoke coming out of the engine and a ton of damage on the right side.
And we have caution on the speedway for the second time in this race. And it is, as you said, Sam Denotto, whose misery at Pensacola will continue, unfortunately. He will be our next retiree from this race. I don't know if anyone else is going to join him there or not, but Tyler Ferris will be the race leader under caution, and this will be a perfect opportunity for everybody to pit under yellow and not have to pit again for the rest of the race. So the strategy for this race has been sorted, nothing to worry about there. But tough break for Sam Denotto, who just can't seem to find a break here.
No, not at all. That's, I mean, went from leading this race, getting somebody snuck below, and then fall into the back of the pack, and now all of a sudden, tons of damage to fix, and black smoke piling out of that car. So not a good ending for Sam Denotto in this race, in a day that he could have had a shot to win it.
That is true. Everybody, of course, has a shot to win at Pensacola, but especially when you've got a good car under you like Sam Denotto did. But looks like everybody's going to file off turn 4, come into the pits together. This will get everybody to the end of the race, like I said. So no more worrying about fuel mileage or anything like that like we saw at the Pensacola 500. That is not a concern anymore. But we will see how the order shakes itself out entering and exiting the pits, because there's still some damaged cars that need some repair work done to them, and the only car that stayed out is Kasim Adnan, and that's only because he's a lap down. So Tyler Ferris is already done with his service. He'll likely lead the charge off pit road.
Wonder if he took fuel only there. Interesting. It looks like a lot of people are taking fuel only at this point in the race. I mean, you might as well. Tires aren't going to really wear. You're not going to be losing much lap time for not having the best tires. So, yeah, fuel only here. See if you can't gain any positions on people that are taking fuel. But here's Sam Denotto coming into his pit, likely to retire this race car.
And we got one pinned into his stall, and that's the 42 of AF Wall. She was running very well, but some strange turn of events there that put him out of this one. Not out of the race, but certainly out of contention for a good day. That's something that we don't see very often at Pensacola in particular, so wonder how that started. I'm sure they'll have the... This looks like where it starts, and... this is something we don't see very often, the dreaded ping pong effect. When you get stuck between two cars and you just bounce off one then the other. You get that sometimes in racing, but you rarely see it here in the Nitro National Series. So let's get a head-on replay of this, because it'll give us the best angle of what happened here. Yeah, this looks like Denotto got into Martinez and then back and forth. There's just nowhere to go, really. And
Really lucky for this whole pack of cars that they didn't bounce back on into the lane of traffic. And here come all those other cars. They're going to go by on either side of Sam Denotto holding this wheel. Man, oh man, just do not move that wheel at all as those guys are coming by. Yeah, tough break for Sam Denotto there, but not a lot different you could do. Not a lot of room you can give down there on the backstretch when you're 4 wide.
Absolutely. So, we're closing in on halfway in this race, if you can believe it. We're on lap 17 right now. We're going to get a restart in a moment. But Tyler Ferris is in a very good position here. He's led most of this race. He's done a pretty good job holding off the pack. Could we see something similar to what we saw last year, where back when this team was called ZD Autosport, they dominated this track. They won both races here, as a matter of fact. Now that they've been rebranded and everything, it's been a bit of a struggle for them this season, but they're still plenty good at these super speedways, and I'm very curious to see how Ferris will do for the rest of this race.
Yeah, well, I was just beginning to say before that last accident that Tyler Ferris is somebody that we should keep our eye on for this race because of the fact that this 55 car, after losing the lead, was right back up there pretty quickly. And that's one of the things with this type of racing, especially here at Pensacola, is that if you've got a car that you're able to maneuver down to the bottom quicker than anybody else, you're going to be up front more often than everybody else in this pack, and that's just going to give you a higher % chance of being up front at the end, and that's really what you're trying to do here is just be up front at the end. So this 55 car, definitely someone to keep an eye on because he was able to be up front, lead this race for a few laps, and once he lost that lead to the bottom lane, he was able to get down there and be right back in contention for it. So that's going to be interesting. And then another car to keep an eye on is Eric Monaco, a little bit farther back in the pack as we watch this pace car to see the lights go off, and they do. So we're on the final lap before the restart here. But Eric Monaco did a really good job leading the race, and I'd say that that's going to be something that comes in handy after once we complete so many laps and we're coming to the end of the race. If Eric Monaco is in front, watch out because he might not give up that lead.
Two more retirees to announce from this race. Keon Daly in the 52. He was having a strong run at the front. This will not help his playoff hopes very much. And Dylan Young, our pole sitter, in the 92 of an issue. And it looks like we got another one forming in this number 7 car, Aaron Hall. Did he have some sort of problem that's not been diagnosed? Because the whole field's streaming back by him. But then at the same time, he's starting to catch back up, and he might try and reclaim his place. I'm not sure if he can or not, but very interesting situation with this 7 car.
Yeah, this is interesting. He's on the bottom of the racetrack right now. I don't know if they're going to let him have his spot back.
I have a feeling he might have to pit and work on something under the hood because something wasn't quite right with that car, and he's already out of position anyway. And they might just let the rest of the field form up behind him because he looks very much set to head the pit road right here. So we're coming to the restart on lap 19.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, and they must have found something and decided that it isn't worth trying to make this restart happen here because it could be costly for that car or the rest of the field. So good sportsmanship call there from Aaron Hall's crew to bring him in, coming to the restart here. But now, 55 car is going to take everybody to green behind the 1 car, and we'll see once again who is going to jump to the bottom, who's going to make this move happen and try to jump to the lead in a quick way on the restart.
So as they come off turn 4, the pace car makes the hard left turn. Kasim Adnan is going to lead them to the restart, but he will not be your race leader. That'll be Tyler Ferris. As they come into the restart zone, the green flag's back out. Ferris is going to try and get around Adnan right away on the outside line. I'm not sure that's the right thing to do, though, because Ryan Arnold's already underneath him, and Alexa Lushon's going to try and get underneath Arnold for second. They barrel off in the turn 1.
Oh, and for a second there, Arnold was in the poor spot, but now Alexa Lushon is down there, stuck behind the 1 car, and they're still 3 wide for this lead. The 55 losing time, no momentum on the outside, and now Kyle Corbett on the bottom is going to give a big push to that whole lane down there and probably push this 50 car out front. Looks like the 50 car will end up out front. Eric Monaco is in there, and then we've got 4 wide for second place with including the lapper up top, and this is crazy because now we got the 87 on the bottom. Man, oh man, we just cycled through a bunch of different people all down the back straightaway, and now we're coming to the first lap after the restart with the 50 car out front.
But for how much longer is the question, because Chris Lattimore is making a move down onto the inside line with help from Ricky Freeman Jr. We know how good he is at these super speedways. Could that 91 be a factor before it's all said and done? This will be the halfway lap, of course, so this race will be official next time they cross the line. There's no weather in the area, but just to be on the safe side for everybody watching at home. But Chris Lattimore now takes the lead of this race, but he's now going to lose it to Ricky Freeman Jr. down on the bottom. This 91 is going places, and he's desperate for a win to prove that he belongs in these series.
Yeah, the 91 is looking really good right now, but of course there's that 57 car, somebody that we've seen up front multiple times today, and then behind them is the 59 and 55 of Ferris as well. So once again, we've got these guys that are kind of cycling to the front. Every time they fall back, they're cycling back up there. So this will be interesting. There's Aaron Hall is still having some problems out on the track.
And then Autumn Koger, who's just exited the pits. So it looks like they had a few problems to diagnose, which is a shame for the 19, who was our race winner not too long ago at Martinsville. But it's her teammate that currently leads right now, Ricky Freeman Jr. in this 91 car, with help from Terzic and Ferris and Elijah Ironhouse. We know how good he is at the super speedways. He won at Armory Digital last year, so he's very good at this type of racing. Could he be a factor before this race has come to a close? He's certainly making a case for it right now, because he's making a 3-wide move to the bottom for second.
Yeah, I'd say definitely Elijah Ironhouse will have a shot here, and we see how good that car is every time they show up here. He's one of those guys that is able to get to the front and then kind of hang around up there. So we'll see what happens today, if it's any different than is typical for this racetrack. But right now, Ricky Freeman Jr. is the big story out front, leading the way 2 wide behind, with Elijah Ironhouse making a move on the bottom.
And remember, Ironhouse started back in 21st, has not yet led today. Could this be the moment that he takes the lead for the first time in this race? He gets underneath Ricky Freeman Jr., and he has help from Todd Hemmler behind. This should be a pretty smooth pass for this 8 car of Ironhouse, and he's going to take the lead of this race and try and defend both lanes as we get lap 23 underway.
Yeah, I don't know about defending that top lane. Going into the corner, you're going to have to deal with that bottom lane. So here comes that 38, who we saw up front earlier, or like in the very beginning of this race, led us to our first restart after the lap 2 incident that 38 car did. But Elijah Ironhouse is sitting there right between those 2 lanes, just managing, waiting to see who gets the momentum. And you know, this is going to be fascinating to see how long he's able to stay out front, because we've seen before this car gets out front and stays there for a little while. He's got a teammate back there as well, stuck in the outside lane right now. But then if you look a little bit farther back, Eric Monaco is kind of still in this thing. The 55 of Tyler Ferris has fallen back, so he's not in this picture anymore. There he is. He's at the very back of the outside lane up there, and they're going 3 wide, 4 wide even, and for what is effectively 4th place right now, and then a few rows behind them.
Absolutely. This race never ceases to excite for anybody involved, as we currently have 33 cars on track, 29 on the lead lap. So we cycle lap 24, and oh boy, we got trouble in the back. And it's Justin Hutchinson, Alex Forget-Berube, Kenneth Grant, Terzic in the 57. Oh, we got more piling in. Oh, Joshua Michaels, Zane Grayson in this one. A big hit for those guys. Man, oh man, we were hoping we wouldn't get more of this, but this is the nature of the beast at Pensacola. AJ Jones involved in this one. Ryan Caggiano with some damage in this accident. Alexa Lucian, who was having such a good day. Alex Forget-Berube, of course. Cody Goforth involved in this one. His day likely over as a result. Man, oh man, we saw that one coming though, the way they were running so closely at such high speeds.
Yeah, really just wrong place, wrong time like usual here. And man, oh man, a lot of fast cars taken out now, and that opens this race up wide for just about anybody else. Anybody who's left, it's a race of survival at the moment. If you're left on this racetrack, you have got a shot to take the win.
Same story, 3rd chapter, as it looks like Kenneth Grant comes up into Justin Hutchinson. A big shot into the outside wall, and Hutchinson almost gets lifted off the ground by Alex Forget-Berube, who goes sliding down. Oh, and Michaels gets a big shot being piled into that. Oh my goodness, that's something we didn't see under the live shot, was Cody Goforth absolutely destroying Alex Forget-Berube under braking. That was a severe impact for both. So let's look at this from Alex Forget-Berube's perspective. He was running just in front of where this all starts, and he almost lifted the 11 off the ground, like I said. This looks to be a fairly low-energy crash for the 3 car until that 01 car just comes flying in at such ridiculous speed. You gotta wonder if something was wrong with that 01, because that was a very significant impact for both those guys. We're hoping everybody's all right after that one, because that was a very scary blow for everybody involved.
Not good to see that, man. Oh man.
So, as we cycle under our third caution of the race, we're cycling it through on lap 26 with Elijah Ironhouse as your race leader. We only have about, 26 cars still running in this race, and not many of those are in fighting shape to win it here. But Elijah Ironhouse made it through, Ricky Freeman Jr. made it through, Tyler Ferris made it through. So, we got some contenders still in the mix, but after a wreck like that, you really need to call into question everything you've been doing up to this point, because clearly it's not working.
No, and that's just it about this track, because you're thinking, all these guys, I mean, that crash happened in the second row of all the cars. So all these guys are thinking, man, we should maybe take it a little easy right here. We just saw a huge crash, a bunch of people involved, dangerous crash as well. And then you look at the lap count and you're like, well, there's only going to be like 12 or 13 laps left in this thing when we go green. That's not a lot of time left in the race to really make moves and get up to the front. So, unfortunately, I don't think that we're going to see any difference in how these guys are racing, because it's, they'll dial it down a little bit to maybe avoid having another big crash, but then they have to bring it right back because they're trying to race for the win, and that's really what matters. That's why everybody's here. So we're going to get another lap under caution as we circle around here, because the lights have remained on the pace car. But yeah, we got a lot of people in this race that have some serious damage. A lot of people out of the race. I don't know. This is going to be fascinating to the end.
So Elijah Ironhouse remains your race leader.
We've got the 38 just behind. Then Eric Monaco as well as in third. And Eric Monaco, like I've been saying it all day, that car is good out front. So that 73 is going to be definitely somebody to watch out for in this race. But yeah, Elijah Ironhouse, he took the lead, and then after a couple laps they had that accident, his teammate involved. So I don't know if we've seen everything that this 8 car is capable of out front in this race, and we'll see how he's able to hang on in a restart situation here, because the restart's a totally different beast. And of course this is our what's going to be the 4th restart here, and it's the 4th different guy to lead us to it. So this is going to be fascinating to see what that 8 car can do ahead of all these other hard-charging cars. We got a Chevy, a Ford, a Dodge, and a Toyota leading the way here at Pensacola.
Yeah, you pick your favorite as far as manufacturer parity at the front, because we've got everybody running at the front now. Like you said, a Chevy leads, a Ford leads, a Dodge leads, a Toyota. Everybody's at the front now. So don't say we don't have a diverse series in the One-Up Nitro National Series, because we sure do. Yeah. It's just a matter of time, though, before we settle this race for one of these guys. And if I had to make a case for anybody, I'd say you're absolutely right. We have not seen the last of this 8 car. We have not seen everything he can do. I fully expect him to be a challenger. I fully expect Ricky Freeman Jr. to be a challenger. Tyler Ferris got shuffled back to about 13th. He should be a challenger, though. At this point in time, you're not going to run out of anybody who's going to contend for this race win, because I think now we're going to have the lights go out on the pace car. Yes, they are. We're going to have one more lap to the restart.
Good. And this is going to be interesting, because with few cars left in this race, and of course we're going to have more than a few lining up on the bottom right here. So that's going to change the dynamic of this restart. We're going to have all the leaders on the outside lane. I'm not sure exactly how much that'll impact and how slow these guys on the bottom will be. However, everybody who is still remaining in this race on the lead lap, they absolutely all have a chance. If you can stay in the draft, stay within reaching distance of the leaders and on the bottom lane, 2 to go. If you can get to the bottom lane, you might be able to work your way all the way up to the front, and then you could take the lead coming out of turn 4. Somebody we haven't seen lead all day, and we're saying their name for the first time coming to the checker flag. That is very possible, and in fact, I'd almost want to say that it's likely here at Pensacola for us to see something like that, a crazy ending with somebody who wasn't expected to be up front after what we had seen all day in the race, taking the win. And you know, it's just that type of racing. So we'll see what happens. There's not a lot of them left without any damage. So it's just gonna be interesting. That's all I can say about it.
So, as the field cycles along behind the pace car, we've got about a quarter of a lap to go to the restart. Elijah Ironhouse continues to show the way with Todd Hemler second. Monaco runs third, as you said. Ryan Arnold and Ricky Freeman Jr. ran at the top 5. This is going to be an interesting restart. We've got a lot of big names at the front and some surprises up at the front as well. Like, who expected Todd Hemler to continue to be a threat to win this race after the green flag? Who expected Ryan Arnold to be able to try and repeat what he did at Hillside a few months ago? Who would have expected Austin Holloman to be up in the 6th spot in this race? But they're all up here. We're getting ready to settle this here at Pensacola, and we've got 12 laps to decide the finish here at the AdventHealth 250. We're under green once again.
And Elijah Ironhouse is going to I think the 38 Hemler's going to have a shot here to get to the bottom lane. It's not going to be enough, though. Elijah Ironhouse is going to pull ahead. In 3rd place, Eric Monaco has fallen way off of these two drivers who are leading the way. So Elijah Ironhouse is going to get out front and drop down in front of the 1 car, disallowing the 38 to stay in his draft through the corner. And this is going to be interesting because he's gotten a big lead over these guys. They're going to be coming at a big head of steam towards him once they gather back up together. Regardless, Elijah Ironhouse is pulled away, and they're really strung out back there.
Yeah, we have a lot of cars with a lot of damage, and I only see about 10, maybe 12 cars that can keep up with this lead group. So yeah. This is going to be a battle of attrition, like you said at the top of the show, but we now have 11 laps to go from Pensacola, and the field pretty single file for the first few cars. And this is going to be very close, because Ironhouse is doing a very good job holding the lead. Hemler needs to just stay within eye shot of Ironhouse. Ricky Freeman Jr., he's making a move underneath Todd Hemler for second. So forget anything I was going to say about Fords working together. They need to get a move on around Ironhouse, because this is a very stout number 8.
Yeah, so these guys are looking really good right now. So what's happened is they were single file for a while, but now they came back, they kind of grouped back up together through the draft, and now they're starting to go too wide here. Of course, that there's a little bit of a separation between 5th and 6th there, but they're gaining. So this is going to be interesting. There aren't a lot of cars, and that's going to make it interesting because we've got the 38. He's on the outside lane right now, so he's falling back without any help. However, he's going to drop back down. He only fell back to 5th. So that's really, he's going to have a shot to get back in this race immediately. So I don't know. We'll see. Ricky Freeman Jr. going for the lead right here over Elijah Ironhouse. He's got help. Actually, help has abandoned him and gone 3 wide for the lead on the bottom lane. So they're 3 wide. And Eric Monaco now has a choice to make. He goes to the top, the 38 to the bottom. And Elijah Ironhouse hung out to dry on the outside. He's going back probably the 7th place here.
So who will lead at the line is the question. Arnold or Freeman at the stripe. Man, if that was the battle for the win, look at how close that was between Ricky Freeman Jr. and Ryan Arnold. Scoring gives it to the 91, but man, that would have been very close. I would have loved for that to be the finish of this race, but we still have 9 laps of racing to go, and Ryan Arnold trying to lead for the first time since his Hillside triumph, and now has help from Todd Hemler on the inside, and Zachary DeLillo. He's been involved in so many accidents today. Has Zachary DeLillo, and look at him, he's back into the top 10 with a shot at his first career win.
Yeah, so this is Arnold right now looking at the bottom lane, and he's getting a head of steam off of this corner, but the 91 is hanging right with him on the outside lane. I haven't seen anybody use the outside lane that effectively yet, but it's because there's so little energy on the bottom right now. There's only 4 cars down there, and they're not even pushing down the straightaway. Of course, Elijah Ironhouse just dropped down there, but we've got a solid, 5 cars up on the outside. Of course, 56 just fell out of the group, but they were all pushing at one point, and it allowed the outside lane to get ahead and keep this 91 of Ricky Freeman Jr. out front. man, I don't know if that's going to come into play at the end of this race, but we've just seen something that we don't typically see here at Pensacola with a lot of cars. With just few cars like this, either lane is viable depending on how many cars are in it.
And now Ryan Arnold still trying to get a run on Ricky Freeman Jr. for the race lead, but it looks like the 91's going to keep the advantage, coming off a turn 4 to complete lap 33 and come to, 7 laps of racing left. We've depleted the field in a big hurry. But we still got a great group of challengers going for this race win, and it's anybody's guess on who among them is going to score big.
Yeah, and Elijah Ironhouse is getting aggressive right now. He knows he has to be up front to have a shot at this win. He's made it back up to 3rd place, and every straightaway he's dropping low. Eric Monaco hasn't been going with him, though, at least not yet, so he's sticking on that outside lane. A lot of people sticking on the outside lane, which is surprising to me. I think everybody would want to be on the bottom lane at this point in the race because that's the best place to go for blocking. You know, that's where all the runs are going to come from, but hey, it is what it is. Everybody jumping to the top side. Elijah Ironhouse, though, is holding strong and true on the bottom, trying to make moves as desperately as he can, but he just has no help right now going into turn 1. It's still Ricky Freeman Jr. out front.
Could this be the day for Ricky Freeman Jr.? Come so close so many times here on the super speedways and elsewhere, trying to get that first career win. He's come close. Could this be the day for RFJ to get career win number 1? He's got Elijah Ironhouse, though, very hungry on his back bumper. Will he try and make a move into turn 3, coming to 5 laps to go this time? And yes, he gets to the inside.
All right, so Elijah Ironhouse to the bottom of Ricky Freeman Jr. in a sneak attack move that he hadn't seen from the 10 car. And now Ricky Freeman Jr. suffering the same fate that Elijah Ironhouse did earlier in this run. He went to the outside lane, got a little bit hung out to dry, fell to the back, but as we've seen, it is not difficult to come back to the front in this pack of cars right here. There's just so few. The cycle is incredibly quick from getting all the way from the back up to the front. So we'll see now what Henley can do in the 38 car, or Hemler can do in the 38 car, my bad. But he's sitting there in 2nd place. He's going to get a little bit of help from the 56 and the 66. Actually, he's not. He's going to get dumped by the 56, going to the bottom for 2nd place.
How about that 56, David Wells? He started this race in 40th, and now, with coming to 4 laps to go, runs 2nd in this race, could get his first career win and the first for Phantom Fury Motorsports in what's been a very trying year for them as an organization. And Austin Holloman's up there as well in the 59, could be seeking redemption for their friend Raiden Red at Decatur. But with 4 laps to go, Elijah Ironhouse still holds the lead over David Wells, and he's got Ricky Freeman Jr. behind as well. Will the 8 be able to hold on the rest of the way? Oh no, here comes Freeman to the inside of Wells, but into 56 up high.
Yeah, so Ricky Freeman Jr. is going to be very dangerous to the leader right here, I believe. Ricky Freeman Jr. has one of the fastest cars in this group that we're watching right now. He has gone from the back all the way up to the front once again in this one, just like Elijah Ironhouse did. And now it's a duel between the two of them, 1st and 2nd place on the bottom lane right now, and they're moving up the track a little bit. They're going to get cycled here, and we'll see if there's a move down into turn 1. There's an opportunity. He's got the run. Not going to be enough this time, but the 91 is on his tail right now for the lead of this race with only a few laps to go.
Coming to 2 next time they cross the line. Will Ironhouse be able to hold on, or will Ricky Freeman Jr. get around and score win number 1? Down the back straightaway, coming to 2 laps to go. Kyle Corbett back there. Could he have something to say about the outcome of this race? Or Austin Holloman, or even Ryan Arnold? This is an incredible battle. As Freeman now makes a move to the inside, trying to take the lead away.
So they're going to be side by side here. It's going to depend on where the 66 goes. It looks like he's going to maybe go to the top. I don't know. He does go to the top, but there's a big run on the bottom from the 10 car. So now the 91 is the one stuck without any help. Elijah Ironhouse has a little bit more of a push. Both lines are consolidating right now, and we'll see the 8 car holding strong on the outside lane. He is not going to give it up easy.
2 laps of racing to go from Pensacola. Can Elijah Ironhouse hold on for the win? Or will Ricky Freeman Jr. storm his way past to victory?
And Ted went up there to help Elijah Ironhouse. Sorry for interrupting, but he just jumped to the top, leaving Ricky Freeman Jr. completely without any help, and now the 66 goes to the bottom. Wow, what a race.
coming to the white flag this time. Will it be enough for Ricky Freeman Jr. to hold this lead, or will Ironhouse be the one celebrating at the end of the day? We're coming to the white flag. We've got 9 cars under a blanket for the race win, and Corbett makes a move. Not going to happen. White flag in the air. One more lap from Pensacola. Like I said, 9 cars under a blanket, and any one of them could be your winner at the end of this 3-mile circuit.
I am so amazed by Elijah Ironhouse being able to stay on the outside lane against that 91 car on the bottom. I mean, we have not seen that here at Pensacola in ever, I don't think. I mean, earlier in this race, for one moment, but the 8 car is holding strong on the outside lane, and he has gotten clear of Ricky Freeman Jr. going into turn 3 on the final lap. Here they come to the checkered flag.
Will it be enough? Does Freeman have one more shot left in him? Coming through 3 and 4 for the final time. It's going to be close. I don't think Freeman's got enough. And the crowd on their feet, they're going to see Elijah Ironhouse get his second superspeedway win, and it's Elijah Ironhouse that wins the AdventHealth 250 at Pensacola in a dramatic late race battle with Ricky Freeman Jr., who comes home second once again. Austin Holloman actually comes home third for his best career finish. Ryan Arnold gets his first top 10 since his win at Hillside. Kyle Corbett rounds out the top 5. Todd Hemler comes home 6th for a career best day. Zachary DeLello 7th after all the incidents he was in. Eric Monaco, David Wells, Glenn Mixon round out the top 10. But all you could really say, what a job that 8 car did. Like you said, making that top groove work the way he did. I haven't seen anything like that in a very long time.
Yeah, that was just absolutely incredible. What an amazing drive from that car. He started pretty, mid-pack there. And then 21st, so pretty much dead center in this field today, and just held steady. Of course, got pretty lucky not being in the accidents today, but yeah, drove up through the pack and made it there at the end, and then an amazing job to stay ahead of Ricky Freeman Jr. for 2 whole laps on the outside lane. My goodness, he's gonna be thanking those guys that were helping him with pushes from behind on the outside. But yeah, that Elijah Ironhouse, watch out for him at these super speedways. My goodness, what an amazing drive.
And we've got one more super speedway to take care of at Talladega in the fall, so be ready when that comes. However, next time for the One Up Nitro National Series is the exact opposite of the big super speedway. We go to one of the tiniest tracks we're going to go to all season in Oswego, New York, for race number 12 of the season up in upstate New York at Oswego Speedway. That is going to be a lot of fun, I'm sure, for completely different reasons than what we saw at Pensacola. But man, gotta tip your hat to Elijah Ironhouse. Put on a stellar drive, and that's a win very much deserved. So, from Duke Anzac and from myself as well, we say goodbye from the Pensacola Superspeedway, and a big congratulations are in order for Elijah Ironhouse, who did the impossible, holding off a whole pack of cars on the top side of the racetrack, and gets a big win here at the biggest track of them all, the Pensacola Superspeedway.